as always, appreciate you coming out. And again, we appreciate all that you do for us and our football program. Clearly a great opportunity. I'm excited. Really as a coach and as a player, these are the weeks that that you dream of or live for, and we're excited for the opportunity to play Florida State, an excellent team, and I think the kids are off to a good start. As much as the media and everything is really kind of concentrating on this game, I think our kids have been doing a good job so far, just concentrating on the process and trying to improve each day, and that's important. And as I said to the team the other day, we borrowed the process for a week last week, and now we got to go try to own it. And it's a great week and a great test to see if we can do that, given the notoriety and everything that accompanies this game. So with that, I'll keep it short and answer any questions that you might have.
Now, when you speak of process, is the goal ultimately that every week becomes Florida State week, in terms of how the kids prepare, that every game counts as much as the outside would think that this one counts?
Yeah, I think that's probably fair. And again, I'm trying to go the other way this week. I'm trying to now everybody's kind of flocking and talking about this game, and I'm trying to just keep them back on the process. So it can swing one way or the other. Certainly, you could see it last week swinging the other way, and we're trying to keep them on the process. And certainly, I think that it's fair to say this. But to me, I'm just trying to develop a consistent team and a consistent approach. And obviously, the results that we got Saturday.
Also, I know it doesn't affect you here. The New York Times just posted a story saying that Coach Paterno will leave possibly as early as this week, definitely by season's end. I know you probably don't know much in specifics, but hearing that this is going to be the end,
that's heartbreaking if I heard that, and obviously I would want to refrain until I know definitively or have talked to anybody in that camp. Obviously that would be heartbreaking if it ended like this after all he's done for college football. So, but it's just too hard for me to comment on something I don't know much about.
Yeah, I'm sure you watched last year's game from a coach's football technical standpoint.
Yeah.
Do you have any feel for what the heck happened?
Again, I don't think that's fair to work on, to comment on somebody else's work. I just look at, the turnovers and the things that we're trying to do better with this year's team. And, they ran the ball really well, Gary. I mean, they did. And that's going to be a challenge for our team this year. And we can't let them run the ball as effectively as they did last year. I think that had a lot to do with it. And again, last year's over. I think clearly they're 6-3. We're 5-4, and irrespective of that, this game means a lot to people in both camps. So we're just trying to stay focused on what we're doing right now.
Coach, obviously you want your team to prepare the same day in, day out, week in, week out, no matter what. But they're obviously probably a little energized this week, have a little pep in the step. How do you kind of use that to your advantage?
Yeah, I think first of all, yesterday I think they were very even keeled. I don't think they were any more, and today was a tough practice. So they were fighting it a little bit because it was tough. And again, as we taper the physical aspects of it, I think their emotions and obviously the mental side of it will pick up here towards the end of the week. But I'm just trying to keep them focused and keep them tempered and just, again, if you can just focus and adhere to a process, I think everything else will take care of itself. If anything, I'm just trying to keep them on task this week, keep checking boxes.
Hey Al, I think the perception is that the defense hasn't played well this year, but yet you're third in the ACC in points allowed. You're very good in the red zone. So, which is it? Has the defense played well?
No, I think again our philosophy is it's always going to be about scoring defense, red zone defense, and third down defense. Now, George, we're not as good on third down defense as we need to be, clearly, but those three categories are part of playing the game smarter and more disciplined. Those three categories are what keep you in games, to be honest with you. So I'd hate to think where we'd be out if we didn't do those three things well. But overall, we have a lot to improve on, and we're playing a lot of young people on defense, and we're making progress. But again, it's not to the standard that you nor I have accustomed to, and certainly not what the defense or the coaches on defense expect. We need to improve in many ways, and we will.
What do you feel like are the keys that are going to decide this game in terms of what you guys have to do to win?
Well, again, we got to find a way to run the football. They're excellent on defense, and we'll see 2 units on defense, most particularly in the defensive front. We got to protect our quarterback. I think they have over 30 sacks this year already. They're excellent in third down defense. We cannot give up explosive plays in the kicking game. They're very good in their coverage units, and they have a very good returner. And obviously their kicker and punter are as good as anybody in the league. So those are some of the and then obviously the explosive plays. When we've given up explosive plays on the defensive side, like Virginia Tech or Virginia, it's made it hard for us to come back. So we have to find a way to stop the run and not give up explosive plays on the defense. So those are just some of the keys. I mean, there's others, but again, we're trying to just focus on those aspects of the game right now.
Al, you say you're talking about their kicker, and several of these games have come down to kicks in this rivalry.
Yeah.
I'm sure you were aware of that, I guess. But Jake, could you talk about what kind of job he's done this year, and if he were the one on the line?
Has Jake missed 2 or 3? I think Jake has missed 2, right?
One was blocked, I think.
Yeah,
and
but one was
missed.
blocked. So
Yeah.
I think Jake has done a great job, and I think the other thing about Jake, he doesn't get enough credit for his placements on the kickoffs. His placements have allowed us to cover kicks really well. So we have the ultimate confidence in him. And I would say that that Dalton, since the Georgia Tech week, has really played to his capability. He's doing a much better job punting the ball. So I'm excited about those 2 guys. I think both our return units need to produce more. And I think Travis would be the first one. We're trying to get him to take the lead on those 2 units because we need to be better. These are excellent coverage units that we're facing Saturday, and we need to return the ball better than we have been on punt return and kickoff return.
Al, to sort of follow up on Susan's question, it's no secret when Jake first arrived here, I know it was before that, he struggled. He really had to learn how to be a consistent kicker day in, day out. How much better does that make it when a kid is kind of self-made and can be this vital?
Wyclaw?
Yeah.
Done a tremendous job. Again, he made the decisions back in February and March that he was going to, we always talk about, what are you willing to do to be a champion? Or what are you willing to do to be a starter? What are you willing to give up? And he gave up a lot. He gave up a lot of bad habits. He made a lot of decisions to make sure he took care of his body, developed a faster twitch in his leg. To be quite honest, he did. All the running and lifting that he did and all the extra work that he did. And then was just mentally tough. And we didn't know going into camp that he was going to end up like this. We didn't. I'm being completely honest. He and Gudis were battling out in camp, and it was almost like you're waiting for it to change, and then it never changed. He just kept getting better every day. And he's become very reliable. I know I'm very confident sending him in the game, and it's a credit to the young man and obviously his makeup and the way he's developed himself.
Is it fair to say that an area that, I know coaches worry about everything, but an area that was a big worry a few months ago isn't so much of a worry?
I think that's fair. I think our kicking game, our kicking and punting are doing really. I'm worried about our return game. Our coverage units have been solid. Again, we're not great yet, but they've been solid. Our obviously our field goal operation, other than the one block, has been good. But our return game needs to be better.
FSU only allows just over 2 yards a carry.
Yes.
Is this the ultimate test for Lamar and the big guys up front?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I said it earlier in the week. I think this is the best defense we've seen, and not just because of their scheme, but because of their personnel and because of the number of players that they play. So, a lot of experience on the defensive side, and clearly, it's going to be a challenge. We can't dance and be left in 2nd and 12. So that's going to be critical because those 3rd and longs in Tallahassee are disaster downs. They're disaster downs waiting to happen, and so we can't beat ourselves with penalties, and we got to make sure that we find some surfaces to run the ball. And then if it doesn't look good, don't dance and lose 4 or 5. Leave us in a 2nd and 9 or 2nd and 8, and then we can operate from there. So the guys know that, and we did a good job last week. This will be a greater challenge.
Al, when it comes to recruiting and with a game like this, kids commit so much earlier nowadays, and what kind of effect do you think this game will have on recruiting?
I don't think there's any question it has an effect, but as I said yesterday morning, I believe I don't think it's do or die. I mean, they have a kind of a blueprint for how they recruit, and certainly we do. I'm looking for kids that match what we're doing. I think our whole staff understands that now. We're recruiting to those values and those height, weight, and speed standards, and obviously for our system. And so they're recruiting differently, than we are. Again, we're proud of the product that we have. We don't really talk about anybody else's product. We talk about the product that we have and what we can afford young people. But again, I think Jimbo himself said that there's a lot of kids that whichever team loses will say, well, I know I can help them. So you see it happen in both ways. And right now, because we're in year one, and because of the transition, and because we have so many scholarships to offer this year, I think it's already predetermined for the University of Miami that if you want to come in and have an opportunity to play early and impact the program and be part of the group that brought us back to national prominence, this is a great year to do it.
There have been many head-to-head battles. Have there been many head-to-head battles? I mean,
I think they're all head-to-head.
I mean, in terms of kids and.
Oh, sure. Yeah. No, I think they're all. There's a lot of head-to-head it's going to be that way.
Coach, a couple years ago, you were both different teams. You weren't here, but how much of an asset is it that Ja'Cory and the older kids have won in that stadium with everything that presents?
Yeah. Again, I think it is because they have confidence that they went there and fought through the crowd and the environment and everything. But I can't say, hey, Ja'Cory, let's forget all those interceptions last year. But let's remember 3 years ago when we won. That doesn't really work. You look like a fool after a while. I just think it's there. There's an image in his head that he won there, and that some of these guys that played in that game won there, and that's good. But that's history. And I think what's fresher in their mind is what happened here in Miami Gardens a year ago. And I think we're just trying to get them to focus on today and win today.
Alex, kind of to that though, about the focus on today, which of course has been a theme all year. You've got seniors with 3 games left in their careers, or 4, whatever the number is. Do you want them to sort of, not stop and smell the roses, but do you want them to kind of embrace this time?
Gotta enjoy the journey. The journey's better than the end. And again, I've been saying it, and I don't want to sound like a broken record, but I think that's part of the deal. I think that's part of the issue. And I want to help them out of it. And part of it is that it's such a vicious cycle that at Miami, the expectations are so high that, if you lose 1 or 2, all of a sudden everybody says the season's a failure or the season's lost. And then as soon as you make a couple plays, they push you to the NFL. And all I'm trying to do is get the kids to enjoy the journey. Enjoy today. Those other things, you can't do anything about the past. You came here because of the expectation and the standard that is the University of Miami, coupled with the #1 university in the state of Florida and a top 40 institution. That's why you came here. Okay, now that's the past. That's what you get when you walk in the door. Now, the future is going to be there if you adhere to the process, if you honor the process, and you become the best student athlete you can be. But let's enjoy the journey. Let's enjoy the process and each other and the time that we have, and there's plenty of time for tomorrow.
20 years ago, though, you were in their shoes, and you knew there was going to be ultimately the clock was winding down in your college career too. Is it tough when you know you've got a finite number of games left?
Yeah, I think it's tough. But again, we were process driven. We had a process driven coach, so if we ever said anything about the media, we would get it. So I mean, there wasn't much focus on the outside. It was just us. And I think if we learned anything from the legacy that has been bestowed to us, is that this program was founded on kind of an us versus the world mentality, and it doesn't have to be a negative connotation with that. That us also means that we don't necessarily listen to outside sources, that we listen to each other and our peers and our coaches and the people in academic supports, or the people up in campus, or all the people that are here to help us become the best players that we can be. And we can't serve all these different masters. We just have to get better today and improve today, and really just focus on today, and the future will take care of itself. And that's what I'm trying to teach these young men.
Al, FSU's their leading receivers are freshmen, their leading rushers are freshmen, the top tight ends are freshmen, 2 freshmen on the offensive line.
Yeah.
And they've won 4 games in a row. How unlikely is that for them to be playing that well with so many young guys having key roles on the team?
Well, clearly it's not unlikely, right? I mean, they've won 4 in a row. So again, Freeman, you mentioned Green, Barron, Hart, O'Leary, all those guys are playing and they're doing well, and I'm sure that's part of Coach's plan. I don't comment on what his plan or what his team is doing or what his intent is. I just think they're doing a good job. Right now they're playing really well, and again, it's going to be a great test for us, but clearly they're showing that they're playing because they're worthy of playing. I think that's the bottom line, George.
Al, how would you characterize Travis Benjamin?
Excuse me, George, they're worthy of playing well. They're worthy of playing well enough to win.
And they did have the recruiting class was generally regarded as
Sure.
the best in the country.
Sure, but you can't just play freshmen. You got to play freshmen that are ready to win, and that help you win. And I think that's what those kids, at least in that case, have established, just like Denzel and Dorsett and Schick and those guys have for us. Yes.
Sorry about that. How would you characterize Travis Benjamin's season as a receiver? And he's usually done pretty well against Florida State, and I'm wondering how Streeter has affected him. Has he complimented him?
I think he's complimented. I think Travis is having a real good season. He's always in the game plan. Whether it's screens, reverses, vertical throws, whatever the case may be. I think the biggest thing with Travis right now is he's become a complete receiver. He's in and out of breaks. He's not just he's not just a guy you have to dial a play up for. Does that make sense to you? So if he's on there, if he's out there and it's 21 personnel, or if there's 2 wides on the field or 3 wides on the field, whatever the case may be, wherever he is, he can make a play irrespective of what Jed wants done with the call. And then he's the kind of guy that you can direct the ball to because he's so versatile.
Al, talking about your own freshmen, you've obviously seen a lot from Chicolo and Dorsett and those guys. Is there any guys over the next 4 weeks that you want to get more playing time for in preparation for next season?
Again, no. I think guys they'll come on. I think Grimmel's coming on. I think there's a lot of guys coming on, but we're not going to sit there and say, hey, we're going to play this guy. I mean, we got too much football left this year. Okay. It's hard to walk into a locker room and say, it's Florida State week, let's make sure we play all the freshmen. I mean, what? We got a lot of football left, and I think when freshmen show that they're capable of playing and are making progress, then you reward them with more time. And I think some of the guys that we've mentioned already, are doing that and will continue to do that as they grow here.
Coach, Tommy Streeter got a lot of attention from the defense last week. They were over the top on him and things of that nature, and that hasn't really been happening in the past. Have you guys talked to him about what he may see now that he's had a lot of success and how to kind of try to play and fight through that?
Yeah, I think he's been given that attention. I think he's done a good job. And again, he's not just a go runner. He's catching fades, he's catching back pad throws, he's catching slants, he's catching in cuts. He's doing a lot of different things, and so he's more versatile. He's done a great job with his hands. He's running routes harder, and he made some key blocks for us too. So again, I don't think, again, knowing Florida State and watching how they played, I don't think they're going to pay any more attention to him than they did anybody. Whether it was the young man from Clemson, or I just think they're going to line up and do their deal and make you beat them. And they're aggressive, and they have good coverage skills, and their safeties can cover and can run and strike. And like I said, they got 30 sacks, and none of them seem to be breathing heavy because they keep rotating them in there. So it's going to be a great challenge for our offensive line and quarterback.
Coach, obviously, while you have FSU to deal with, how much do you hate to see what's going on with your old alma mater?
Yeah, again, all I can say is it's heartbreaking, and they're in our prayers. Again, in terms of what else there is out there and what you guys are reading, I don't have time for it. I just don't. I don't know anything else other than it's just a really sad situation. Feel badly for the victims. Feel badly for people that have given so much to that university and that program, and obviously it's a sad day for them, and we're just keeping them in our thoughts and prayers. But other than that, I really can't comment. I'm not following it like maybe some of you guys are.
You've talked about him probably every game, but Sean Spence,
yeah,
Al, I mean,
spectacular. I mean, just been spectacular. He really has been, and he's the same guy every day. He's the model of consistency for us. And when you start to get to your senior year, you start to think about what Tim was saying. What would your legacy be moving forward? Clearly, his legacy is that he's bought into the process. He's consistent every day. His work ethic is unmatched, and his commitment to this team and to doing things the right way in the community and in the classroom has never been compromised. He's been really a pillar for us, and somebody that we're going to miss I just don't want to miss him too much too soon. We still got a bunch of games left with him. Great young man, great family. Got to get more of them. Got to get more guys like that kind of family and that kind of makeup. Tremendous.
Anything you've seen from Denzel Perryman over the last 2 or 3 games that's showing you how much he's grown?
Yeah, I think you guys can see it. I mean, I think if you would characterize Denzel, you would say that he's, he's got some sudden movements. When he tackles the ball carrier, they go back. That's not always the case with a lot of guys on that field. And when he tackles ball carriers, they go backwards. And so he brings his hips with him. He packs a good punch for, somebody that's 215 pounds, 216 pounds right now. And I think Denzel is smart. I think Denzel studies the game, in terms of his football knowledge and his maturity. So he's been given an opportunity, and he's made the most of it. And I'm real excited for the young man, and obviously the way he's playing for us right now.
Along the same lines, Kelvin, and what he can do for you in case Fletch can't go or is not 100%.
Yeah, I mean, right now Fletch hasn't practiced, so I don't know. Again, I'm just trying to be honest with you guys and keep you abreast of it. We'll hope he'll be moving that direction tomorrow, and certainly needs to by tomorrow. But Kelvin will be ready. I know Kelvin will be ready, and if we get in the jam, Marcus Robinson trained there for 5 months before the events of August 14th, and so hopefully we can rely on that a little bit.
And what have you seen from Kelvin just recently? Has he kind of gotten more acclimated? Or?
I think so. I mean, Kelvin's going to be a good player. Kelvin's just got to be patient and continue to learn and grow, and he's got length. He can rush the passer. He's strong, so he can block out on tight ends, and he's versatile enough to give us help and coverage. So, again, somebody's going to have a great opportunity. I know I'm excited to go up there. I know one of those guys is going to have a great opportunity to be the starter on Saturday as well.